last time we talked was about a Shakespeare project you did, so I'm curious, is
Yeah.
there anything Shakespearean about this story? Because I felt like maybe it was.
Perhaps there is. I think Hugh Laurie has talked about Roper as a kind of King Lear, somebody who knows that he may be coming to the end of his reign, and perhaps Tom Hollander as Corky is his fool, who is in favour and then out of favour, you know. Maybe there is something. It's an interesting reflection. I can't think who Pine is really. some kind of agent of vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, just because identity is such a big part of the Pine character.
Yeah.
We see him change. People comment on him be able to be fluid about who he is. Was there a unique challenge in that for an actor to play kind of different facets of him?
Yes, I think so, and I think the challenge of what makes a good spy is their ability to dissemble, and they are able to capitalize on the flexibility and malleability of their identity in a way that is sort of self-eradicating. And I think there's a fascinating question there about identity. Is if a man is so flexible and so credible in concealment and revelation, it's like, who is he really? You know, I think Jed asks that question. But I think it's I after the experience of making The Night Manager, it's a very brave thing he chooses to do, because the solitude is profound and the obligation is to live without the privilege of intimate relationships. There is no one with whom you can share your inner life, and really for many of us that's what we live for. Yeah. Is having those people in your life who you can open up to, and he can't.
Well, I feel like you do see him subtly seek people out, usually women, but the way he watches women, I feel like he is trying to make some kind of connection, but he's very leery of it. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think he's someone, especially, he's someone who's hidden behind the anonymity of uniform as a soldier and a night manager. There is the uniform allows him to conceal himself. He is at ease with a system of rules, which he can hide behind. And I think what happens is the night manager challenges him to make a stand, to make a decision. So I think, yeah, he's very careful of who he trusts, and that comes from a previous life that's been very lonely. It's worth at this point mentioning there's a fantastic paragraph at the opening of chapter 3 of the novel, where Jonathan Pine is described as a graduate of a rainy archipelago of orphanages and foster homes, a sometime army wolf child, a collector of other people's languages, a perpetual escapee from emotional entanglement, a self-exiled creature of the night, and a sailor without a destination. And I clung to those words because I think there's so many clues in there. The idea that he's someone who's always detached himself from being emotionally involved, that he's actually interested in other people's languages, that he's somehow self-exiled. Hugh Laurie always said he's an errant knight in search of a cause. But the Night Manager, or the opening of the Night Manager, gives him a cause. It gives him a destination, something to fight for and stand for.
Love that. Talk about the Corky character a little bit. He's such a bitchy little character at times, but
yeah.
You talk about working with Tom, who, when I saw him once, he gets a little handsy with you.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Tom is so brilliant in this role. He's definitive. I remember sitting next to him at the read-through and realizing exactly how brilliant he was going to be. Corky is Roper's right hand, Roper's man. He gets things done, and he's ex-military, Major Corcoran, but deeply cynical, and he has a combination of wit and menace. You know, Corky, I think, is very funny because he's so dry, but it's profoundly menacing. And when he makes threats, he doesn't make them emptily. And I think that's what makes him exciting to watch, is that Tom has such natural wit. But when he turns on the edge, it's very frightening, I think. Yeah, we had a good time. We had a lot of fun on this.